Hello everyone, this is Johnny Crass coming to you with Rambling Rambles number 6. So what I'm going to be talking about today is the never played. Now, what the never played are the units in an army book that kind of get glossed over, that are never played. The units that are just written off when the book comes out as, well, that's crap, and they never see the tabletop. Or units that, in an edition change, are written off as just a bad unit and then don't see play. What units am I talking about? Well, I'll go over a couple of the never played units that I am currently running. Right now, I am playing, I'm playing a couple books pretty heavily. My Chaos Dwarves. Chaos Dwarves really don't have any never played units. All our units are really good, and our book's really strong, so we don't have never played units that I can think of off the top of my head. Maybe Bull Centaurs, but even that is debatable. So nothing in Chaos Dwarves. I also play Wood Elves pretty heavily. And Wood Elves, I run a lot of never played. I run, if I'm not running my Lord on Forest Dragon build, I'm running either my Lord on Great Stag build, because I love the model. I own him. I got him painted up. He looks fantastic. I got him on this big scenic base. He's just overall a great model. So I run him because he's actually decent. I run, when I'm not running him and I'm using my all fast cav list, I'm running a level 4 life caster on a unicorn, because unicorns are awesome, and once again, I've got a fantastic model for it. I've got it based up, painted up, looks great. I think you can even see pictures of that on my Twitter feed. But both these characters are never runs. And the reason they're never runs is because they're monstrous cavalry, which means they won't be getting lookout sirs. They won't be getting, they won't be getting lookout sirs. They won't, they don't really fit in any of the Wood Elf units besides Dryads or Wild Riders, because they're forest spirits, so they can't go in Glade Guard. But these two units are actually really good, and here's why. Reason number 1, they are both toughness 4, which is really good for elves. Being able to go up to toughness 4 with the monstrous cavalry rule is pretty darn good. Number 2, they have high strength magical attacks, and they each have 2 and a stomp, at high weapon skill and high initiative. This, once again, is really good. I mean, they're slightly expensive for what they do, but they're still really good abilities. Now, my Lord on Stag, he is kind of taken after the Dark Elf Peg Lord. I would do an Eagle, and I love Eagles, but the Stag is just such a cooler model, and yeah. So the build I run on him is Stubborn Crown, because Stubborn Leadership 10 is amazing. Stubborn Crown, Glittering Scales, so -1 to hit him, So infantry is hitting him, weapon skill 3 infantry is hitting him on 6s. Weapon skill 4 infantry is hitting him on 5s. Most characters are hitting him on 5s. Yeah. And then, Stone of Crystal Mire. Because Stone of Crystal Mire is one of the best talismans in the game, barring Pendant of Calith and a few others. So what Stone of Crystal Mire does, if you haven't played Wood Elves before, though I think I've talked about it, so you should know it if you watch my videos, is it gives a 3-up ward save to the bearer and his mount. In this case, giving it to the mount doesn't matter because they share a profile. But what it also does is it's really cheap. It's a 3-up ward save, and it's cheaper than Talisman of Preservation. Now, if I ever fail it, I lose it for the rest of the game. But this is... yeah, it's a risk I'm willing to take. Because he's not going to be hit much. He's pretty much there to camp down the big weapon skill 3 hordes and just tie them up for the entire game. Because I can't fight big gnarly hordes. It's just, my lists aren't built around that. So he just runs in there, runs in, pops in, and yeah. Neither of us go anywhere. And then, since he has talismanic tattoos because he's a wild rider, I have a 2-up ward save against magic because I have MR1. So, he's fairly resilient to everything but like high weapon skill. So, I consider him a fairly good option for dealing with units I can't fight right away. Now, maybe I'll combo charge them later in the game to get them off the table. Maybe I won't. I don't really need to unless things start going down, so to speak. Now, my level 4 on Unicorn, she's a little bit different. The Unicorn gives her magic resistance 2, which is fairly strong. Just because she's sitting on a unicorn, she has MR2. She's a forest spirit, so she has a 5-up ward. I normally give her, I'm having a brain fart on what it's called. Talisman of Endurance. Talisman of Endurance is, of course, the 5-up ward save, 30 points, really good. I give her this because it stacks nicely with MR2, bringing her down to a 3-up ward. 3-up ward against magic. It works nicely. It's just her forest spirit save, except more reliable than her forest spirit save. And in closed list, people just assume the 5-up ward is coming from her forest spirit and won't think that she has Talisman of Endurance. Then, I give her an arcane item. I really play around with the arcane because Wood Elf Arcane is amazing. Right now, I'm going with the if you throw 4 more dice at a spell, I get an extra dispel. I think it's a really fantastic item for its points. And she just rides around on her little unicorn on life, and just movement 10, leadership 9, she's not going to get march blocked. She just runs around and dwellers his things, and maybe charges chaff if I'm feeling pretty ballsy. She just runs around and smacks things with dwellers below, and that's pretty much how I deal with threats in my fast cav list, is dwellers below and wild riders. So, there's that. She's fairly good, but once again, she's on a unicorn, which means people don't play her. And I don't see why. I consider the unicorn to be a fantastic choice. Yeah, it's expensive, but it's actually pretty good. Now, moving on to a couple other army books, because I could go all day with Wood Elves, the Unplayed. There's just a lot of them. But going with the other army books, I also play Bretonnia. And one of the units that Bretonian players seem to not like, and once again I'm stumped on this, is Questing Knights. I've talked to many a Bretonian player who says they'd rather have a Knight of the Realm than a Questing Knight. And this just baffles me for a few reasons. One, Questing Knights are always strength 6. Always. Regardless of whether they got the charge, were charged, second round of combat, they're always strength 6. Yes, you give up 1 pip of armor save, but in my mind, 2 pips of strength are worth 1 pip of armor save. Secondly, they're cheap. They are a fairly cheap knight. They are not Knight Errant cost, because Knight Errant are amazing, like absolutely amazing, but they are still fairly cheap. They've got, they reroll panic tests, panic and terror tests, and fear tests. They re-roll those because they're Questing Knights, so they don't even really need to be by the BSB. See what else? They're Bretonnia, so they're not slowed by their barding, which means they're fairly fast. They can take a magic banner up to 50 points. Once again, really good. I'll normally give them either swiftness or flaming, just so they can kind of run around and cause a bit of mayhem. Their one problem is always strikes the last. But honestly, in the Lance formation, not many attacks are coming at you, and you still have a 3-up armor, and then your blessing save. So really, it's not even that bad. I could see if they had like a 4-up armor, why people wouldn't like them. But a 3-up's not bad, and they still have a shield. So they have a 2-up against shooting. Honestly, I love Questing Knights. I think they're one of the better knight units in the Bretonian book. I'm not a Knight of the Realm fan. I'm an Errant, Questing, and Grail fan. And I don't even really like Grail Knights because they're expensive and fragile. But, yeah, it doesn't see play a lot, and it kind of baffles me why. Another Bretonian unit that almost never sees play for some reason, but I've been playing games with it, a lot of games with it now, and it is fantastic, is, the Grail Reliquary. Now, the thing about the Grail Reliquary is it is stubborn, it has a ward save, and it has a 4-up armor save at leadership 8. That's right, peasants with leadership 8. This thing, you run it 2 wide, couple deep, you get like 10 to 12 battle pilgrims with this baby, and you just chuck it into a unit that you don't want to go anywhere. You just make sure you buy the BSB, and you will hold them up all game. And, well, until they kill all your wounds off the Grail Reliquary unit. And, once again, it's one of the cheaper things in the Bretonian army book. It only comes out at 150 points for the Grail Reliquary and 10 pilgrims, which I normally run like 14 pilgrims, but still 16 wounds with a 4-up, 5-up, or a 4-up, 6-up is pretty good for 150 points. It's worth a second look for all those Bretonian players out there, I think. A few more things real fast are units like skeletons for VC. I'm probably just going to do a whole video just talking about skeletons and stuff for VC at some point. But they are really strong, and people do not give them enough credit in my mind. Can take a magic banner, can be buffed really nicely with magic, like spells. And just a fantastic unit. I'm going to need to redo my skeleton tactician because I've started running them more. So, yeah. Just food for thought. The next time you write off a unit in an army book, before even trying it out, just like looking over its entry and just being like, that's crap. Just take a look at the unit next time. Play it a couple games, proxy it if you don't have the models, but just give it a little bit of a chance. And if you have the player skill for it, it'll probably turn out for you. So that's just my 2 cents on that. If you don't agree with me, let me know. And until next time, this is Johnny Crass. Like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, all that fun stuff. And goodbye.